kept my mouth shut for 25 years.
Now that you're back, I want you to go to Tulsa.
Not exactly the welcome I was expecting. What crew runs this neighborhood?
No crew up in here. We're in the middle of nowhere.
I'll protect you from the gangs.
What gangs?
Sit down!
You got a pretty good appetite for someone who was just shot at.
Tulsa King, new series streaming November 13th, exclusively on Paramount Plus.
Calling all Hoops fans. I know you've been tapped into a crazy beginning of basketball season. If you're not using DraftKings Sportsbook while you're watching your games, you're missing out. Calling all new customers. Sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook and use promo code SMOKE. Bet $5 on any pregame moneyline wager, and you'll receive an additional $200 in free bets if your bet hits. If you're already signed up, you can still win big. DraftKings Sportsbook offers so many ways to cash out during basketball season. They have same-game parlays, DraftKings Daily Fantasy, and so much more. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers use promo code SMOKE and receive $200 in free bets if their pregame moneyline bet hits after placing a $5 wager. That's promo code SMOKE, only at DraftKings Sportsbook.
Welcome back to What's Burning. Before we get started, we want to send our condolences and love out to our brother, Steven Jackson, who unfortunately lost a younger brother last week. Donnie, we're sending love out to the family, and we're here for you. Hope to see you soon. Man, and rest in peace, Snap Marley, man. We're going to miss you, bro. Condolences out to his kids and his wife. I'm here with my Bruin brother, Jelani McCoy, filling in. I appreciate you.
Always.
Man, let's get to it. Let's get to these Minnesota Timberwolves. Had very high expectations coming into this season. Thus far, sitting at 2 games under 500. The energy is visibly off without even really knowing what's going on over there. What have you seen from that team?
Exactly what you said. Not a lot of energy. I know they got a couple new pieces. I don't know if they made a mistake moving Cat to the 4 full time, but that was part of the plan. Rudy can't play the 4 or the 3. I think Rudy's doing what Rudy does, holding up the paint, rebounding defensively and offensively, and scoring when he can. It's not like he's averaging like 8. He's still averaging like 13, so he's doing something when he catch the ball. But I just don't like. I don't like where the space that Ant-Man is in. I don't like the weird conundrum between Cat and Ant. And I don't know. D'Lo doesn't do well with a bunch of distractions. You know, he's just kind of like a KD guy who likes to hoop. And I think I see this being a issue. I mean, I know the trade happened. They seem like they went in on an all-in win-now fashion. But can we really consider them a win-now team after that move?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously still early in the season, but I mean, what I see, again, without being in or necessarily following them too much, is there's definitely friction between Ant and Cat. You know, we spoke about it on other shows. I thought it was kind of corny how Cat came out and was talking about what that man eats and all this other shit that has nothing to do with basketball. I feel like there's, you know, Minnesota it's been Cat's team for, you know, however many years he's been in the league. And he's been an all-star, but they just haven't got over that hump. And I think the organization feels like, you know, Ant is that guy. Now, I know Ant feels like he's that guy, so I think there's kind of a changing of the guards over there. And that little, you know, that sucker shit he said about what he's eating and that kind of, to me, that was just kind of like a sneaky jab. He
hasn't always been the most physically imposing guy through his
career.
I
just think it's just more of kind of changing the guards. You know, it was Cat's team for however long it's been, and they didn't really get over that hump. Now they're handing the keys to, you know, a very talented Ant-Man. And I think he is someone that could really help, you know, be a big part of leading this team in the right direction. But until you figure that internal shit out, the product on the court isn't going to be what it should be. So whether they made the wrong trade or not, I just think they all got to get on the same page and try to figure it out.
Changes when you start making movies on Netflix and you're off court. You know what I mean? He's got a personality. He can hoop and he can make some money off the court. So like you said, he's been the king on the hill for a number of years now. Now it's, you know,
changing the guard.
Exactly.
Changing to the guard. A surprise, Golden State has started 0-7 on the road, 6-1 at home. Got a win last night against the Spurs. No Klay Thompson. Poole had a big game, biggest game of the season. What do you feel like this is? Is this a championship hangover? Is this a Draymond Poole residue still hanging on this team, or is it something else?
I think that's interesting that it's 0-7 on the road because that speaks to the youth on the team. That's when, when you go on the road, especially on a championship team, when you're playing deep into the playoffs, you know how much the youth means on the road when dudes aren't playing back-to-back. Clay isn't playing back-to-back what it looks like for the whole year. That's what it's sounding like. So they need to figure out their rotation on the bench. Some of those young guys, Kuminga, Wiseman, even Poole, you know what I mean? They got to figure out something. He's got to be almost a veteran now, help those young guys figure out what they need to do to be main cogs on the road because that's where they need them. Of course, they're 6-1 at home. They're at the crib.
It's comfortable.
You know what I mean? They sleeping in their own bed. You know what I mean? It's comfortable, like you said. They eating good, but on the road, the dog days in the season, especially as a championship team, to start it off at the beginning of the year, you really need your young guys dialed in. So it's on that staff and some of the players on that team to really figure out what's going to happen with that rotation as far as the young guy goes.
I don't think this is any reason for panic. I think. I got a chance to talk to Steph before the Kings Golden State game the other night.
I saw that, yeah.
I mean, he said they're just trying to figure it out, and I think it's to everything you said. I think they're trying to see what these young guys have and what they are and how they can fit in situations and these rotations because obviously with Clay not playing back-to-backs, although Steph's playing on a whole nother planet right now, he's getting older. Draymond is getting older. You can't ride these guys like you've ridden them in the past, so you have to see what this youth can bring. And plus guys like Jermichael Green and DiVincenzo, they got some older. I like who they picked up. I just think it's going to take time for all these guys to gel mixed with the younger players. Yeah. And that's always what's made Golden State, so good is their strength, coming from the bench. So I don't really see this being a huge issue, to be honest with you. Obviously, the numbers are, eye-opening right now, but I think this will definitely balance itself out at some point. And I still feel like the road through the West will go through Golden State.
I can't disagree with you.
Moving east, Joel Embiid, a historical game Sunday, 59, 11 rebounds, 8 assists, 7 blocks, had 42 on Saturday. All this with no James Harden. This is another team that's kind of underachieving right now. They were one of my probably top 3 or 4 teams in the East coming out. Harden has been down for a while. Who adapts, or how is this going to – because, to me, what makes James Harden great is his ability to play with the ball. You make a mistake, and either he hits a step back or he gets downhill and finds his teammates. Embiid just shows he needs to be fed no matter how you get it to him. Get that man the ball. And I think he showed that the other night. He's been showing that. So is this a fit that can be fixed with more time, or is it kind of this is James Harden game and we already know what Embiid's game is and maybe it's oil and water?
If that's what it is, then James got to go. You know what I mean? At this point in career, I don't think James is the guy that's going to be putting up Herculean efforts like we've seen from Embiid. Back-to-back nights, he's only continued to get better. He's posting up, shooting threes, backing people down from the three-point line, catching it in the shooting corner, doing screening rolls, and as you saw, he's making some playmaking from the post too. So this is a pace and space game. We always talk about a couple players. Russ, we talk about Russ has to change his game since he's not the most athletic player. He needs to go demote himself to the bench or become a better shooter or do this, that, and the third. I think the days of us watching James, and I used to love this shit too, when he massaged the shit out that thing and hit a step back on you, you know what I mean, with two people.
One of the best to ever do it.
One of the best to do it, but, the way the game is being played now, pace and space, so much, it's all pace and space. There's just situations. It's not even really pick and roll based anymore. You know what I mean? It's just more back cuts, hit a guy ahead. So where does that leave? They have everything. The Sixers have had everything at their disposal. Coaching, great owner, willing to pay some bread, you know what I mean, make some moves. So they got to figure that out. But I do think it's time that we start looking at James, and because that team is Joel Embiid's team. It's not going to be a James Harden team. I think it's going to be Joel's team.
Obviously it's Embiid's team. With Harden, their second slowest team pace-wise, only behind Dallas. With Harden, they're still, I think, the lower 20s as far as assists per game. So I just think the lack of ball movement. Obviously, the game needs to go through James.
And young fella.
And Maxey.
Come on now.
I really like Maxey's game.
He's what guards look like.
I really like Maxey's game. And I feel like James can be that perfect facilitator. I mean, I just think he's so accustomed to getting a handful of dribbles before he does anything. That's going to, naturally throw off, the time, Pop said, a second and a half, get off that motherfucker.
Yeah.
If you don't have nothing in the second and a half, pass it. That's not necessarily James Harden. It's never really been his strength, but at the same time, he still is a great playmaker. So I definitely think it's going to take, him understanding what his new role is in his older age and adapting to that. I'm also hearing some rumors about Doc Rivers, man. I'm hearing some rumors about Doc Rivers. You know what I mean? So
Doc been getting to get away. I don't want to call it getting away, but he does get some exceptions thrown his way that a couple of other coaches don't seem to be getting.
Yeah, so I'm also hearing some stuff about Doc Rivers. So this will be interesting to see. Obviously, you don't want to take anything away from Embiid's performance, but this team is a 500 team and it has much better talent than a 500 record should be. So it'll be interesting to see.
And look what they did to Ben. What happened over there with Ben that he can't play basketball no more? You know what I mean? That was on Doc and the Sixers' watch, so be interesting.
That's another interesting guy out east. Staying in the East, the Hawks are now 9-5, currently with 2 wins over the Bucks. DeJounte Murray, Trae Young seem to be working well. Have you been impressed with this team, in more particular this backcourt this far in this young season?
Yeah. I'm not going to front. Real quick, I saw them too this summer in the crossover. I saw the dynamic that they had. I thought they were going to have trouble because they're not real big guys, but the speed and those two dudes play hard. Trae Young plays hard.
Absolutely.
I saw that in the crossover. I had never seen him play in person, but that dude plays like hard. He getting that shit off, like he's doing that with like speed, and it's not just like on some cool shit. And DeJounte is just an animal. His energy, his skill set. I know the young fellow who was out there with him, John Collins. I think he's been a big part of their development because he seems unselfish and willing to be the cool big man and let them go up and shoot up all the balls and cause all better energy. But I like what they're doing. They got old school Nate McMillan as a coach. They low key got some type of playoff experience through the bubbles in the last couple of years. So I like this team. I like where they're at right now, but we know where Boston and Milwaukee sit, but I like where Atlanta is currently sitting, considering the problems in the middle and the end of the East.
Yeah, they can be a scary team because of those two guards. And obviously, I've always been a fan of Collins. He's continued to expand his game. But yeah, Strangers out there, I just wanted to see. I had to see it work. You know what I mean? We saw it in the Summer League. We've seen them individually. But just to see them mesh and come together, which I think is important. And it looks like, again, on the outside looking, it looks like they have a cool friendship and they really mess with each other because you can tell it's hard to get chemistry that fast with someone. So to be able to see what they've done, I really like it. I don't know if they're a real contender. I don't know if they're possibly a player away from being a real contender, but this team is a scary team, a team that I could easily see making it to the second round. So although very early, I definitely like what those two bring to the table together. And John Collins and Nate McMillan's got these guys playing the right way.
Clint Capella going to do his double thing and block a couple of shots.
They got
I agree
pieces.
with you. If
They got
like
pieces.
one more veteran or one person away from really making a good, solid
Being
run.
like, okay, like this is a
we're gonna be
championship
straight.
or Eastern Conference contender for real. Boys are scoring like that. We haven't seen scoring in a long time. We got 8 guys averaging at least 30 points a game. Luka, Embiid, Tatum, Mitchell. One of my favorite young players, SGA, out there in Oklahoma City. The ageless one, Stephen, light-skinned Curry, Giannis, and KD. The 1962 season, the last time there were 6 players averaging at least 30.
Damn.
It hasn't been more than 3 since then. So what is up with the uptick in guys getting buckets? Is it bad defense? Is it the 3 ball? Is it just the new skill level? Like, what do you see?
All of it. You can't touch guys on defense. Guys don't know how to play defense anymore. So you can go score in the mid-range because people just don't even have mentally thinking like the mid-range is a thing. So we got years of kids growing up ignoring the mid-range. You can go in the mid-range and get a couple buckets that'll push you, beyond 30 without relying on shooting 12 threes a game. We talked about pace and space. The three-point is obviously a premium on the three-point basketball field goal. And, yeah, you got it. Nobody's calling anybody's bluff on defense like that, no doubt. There's like, Marcus Smart, Jimmy Butler. There's only a handful of guys who we really consider. Pat Bev, and he's having a different start to his year than what he traditionally has. So it's just not a premium on defense. You can make a lot of money in this league if somebody want to be a defensive stopper and just concentrate on that. You're going to stand out. But I only see the points going up. Because there's only dudes are better free throw shooters, highly skilled. Yep. They're getting fat to places one step earlier than they should, or they don't have to do a bunch of the stuff that even the new moves that we would use. So these dudes are super talented. They've come up with they placed a premium on scoring. This AAU generation, so they're going to be probably seeing some of the best scoring we've ever seen. Over the next couple years.
This is what the NBA wanted.
Yep.
More points, more highlights. Guys are out there getting buckets. To add on, obviously, the mid-range being a spot, but also the paint. The paint's not closed no more. Back when we played, there was big guys that if Steph got cooking or Ja got cooking, there was a no-layup zone. It's a different game.
Yep.
Not complaining about it. It just is what it is. So I agree. I like the scoring. I think it's only going to increase. It's just a new direction of the NBA. So shout out to everybody scoring. These all 8 guys averaging 30. Each in their own individual ways have been very impressive this year. So
shout out to the league for letting the bigs get skilled and take a part of the scoring, because it used to just your ass was stuck down on the pick and roll or shooting jump hooks. Now you can go out there and express yourself a little bit, and it's leading to the bigs not being. Remember, everybody was like, the big dude's about to disappear. They're not anymore. Now we got Embiid and Jokic. They're pretty much out on the floor. So shout out to the revolution of the league.
Yeah, well, the revolution of the bigs. You got to. You got to be able to be. You can't be a back to the basket type guy. It's weird. You can't be a back to you can be more of a Gobert than just a back to the basket. Like they would rather just you rebound, block shots, and play defense instead of
a lob threat is a thing.
And instead of being someone that just throw the ball down there too. So, but that's why I love when Embiid and Joker do it, because no one can guard them down there.
Not a chance. Giannis too. Giannis shows glimpses of it too. I like the way Giannis plays around the basket.
Next up, Money Talk, presented to you by Moneyline. The only money app you'll ever need. Lon, we're going to talk shoe deals right now. Pretty much there's Michael Jordan, and then there's everybody else, but everyone else is still making good money. I think MJ is making about north of $200 million a year from his shoe brand. Then we have LeBron, KD, Steph, Kyrie, who possibly lost his deal, and being someone who was around AAU, his shoe game is heavy in rotation. The colorways and everything, kids really love that. So hopefully this guy didn't lose his deal, but we're not sure where that stands. But also Zion, we got James Harden, we got Giannis, Dame, Klay Thompson, Jimmy, and Melo. We're scaling anyone from these top guys are making $20 to $25 million per year. The middle group of guys anywhere from $8 to $14 million a year, and then the lower third are making anywhere from $6 to $9 million a year. So these guys are making real money on these shoe deals. What are your thoughts about it? I think there's never been more of an emphasis on just shoes at this time. And again, I see it with the AAU wave, but thoughts on this?
We're here in the shoe wave. You stepped up your shoe game. We traditionally Vans wearers. I'm in some Vans right now, but now you're in Travis Scott's and Jordans. Like, we're in the shoe world. That money off the court means a lot to these fellas. We watch LeBron, KD, like you said, Steph get lifetime deals, like $1 billion deals off of sneakers. Those dudes can park their NBA checks in the bank and not even really have to touch them. So, shoe game is a big part of off-court money. I see a lot of the great thing about the shoes to me right now is like Kyrie, and they're doing numbers without tech. Like when we came up, there was the Air Max bubble, there was the Zoom and all the different units in the bottom of the shit. But now everything is less like simplified.
Colorways kill.
Colorways kill.
Dominate.
Make it faster so that, you can have 40 different colorways. I know some of these guys that do more numbers in, for instance, Clay, probably even KD, they probably do more numbers in China than they do in the United States of America. And I'm around the AAU programs a lot, so I see a lot of Kyries. You're starting to see, Giannis you see him wearing Dame.
Well, I think LeBron's 20s, he kind of woke up and got to the low cut colorway ways that these kids are wearing. Yeah, because LeBron's shoes have always been structured for his big, strong ass, fast body.
Right.
You know what I mean? But now he's kind of cut some of the bulkiness off his shoe and made it like everyone else's shoe. You know what I mean? Like, to me, it's crazy. But Kyrie and even Paul George, like, those are probably the two
Facts.
shoes I see most in the AAU circuit.
I agree.
You know what I mean? And then who are some guys you feel like coming down the pipe? John Morant, a LaMelo Ball.
Yep.
We talked about this last year that, I think John Morant's time is coming for a signature shoe, and I think
Spot is open.
Yeah, I mean,
sounds like a spot is open for a guard shoe.
So, but I mean, he's someone that they're gonna run with his stuff.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we were just talking about this the other day on TV. Like, this new Memphis Grizzlies is where the NBA is going with
club.
dancing, energy, fun, selfies, interviews look like a big old rap group getting interviewed. Like, they just have fun out there.
Mixtape covers.
Yeah, so and it's just like, obviously some of them, I don't like that, but I love it. I love their arrogance. I love just this new wave because, again, I'm still in touch with the younger kids. And like, so I tell you, like, this new Memphis team is going to be the prototypical type of how franchise and how we see the NBA moving forward, growing.
Yep.
So get used to it.
I think you hit it. Ja's going to be that guy, but a lot of the younger guys are going to have to realize, Luka, Ja, some of these younger guys, is the dirt that those dudes put in, like, overseas. Like, you got to go do the China tour.
Oh, yeah.
You can be over there for a couple weeks on the road, promoting your shoes. That's a way to expand your bag. You can't just think, you're going to get the deal and not, fulfill all your obligations. Because if you do numbers, like if you sell in China, now you don't have to be worried about domestic sales. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the shoe brands know that too, so they're not letting these guys get. I mean, all these guys are going on their summertime shoe tours. So it's interesting though. Like someone like LaMelo Ball, like who would have thought that Puma would make a dent. Back in the brands and LaMelo Balls. We see a bunch of these crazy color LaMelo Balls at these tournaments. So shoes are it right now. And the kids are kind of setting the trend for them. You know what I mean? Like, it's that AAU circuit that is kind of that next wave of kids that are, being a majority of the money being spent. So
big business, man. You got aftermarket dudes redesigning shoes. You can send, Artie your $200, $400 pair of dollar shoes, send them to another dude, pay him another stack, and have him change it around for you. Money talks.
It's nuts.
Yep.
Well, that's Kick Talks with Moneyline, the only money app you'll ever need. Next up on the radar, presented to you by DraftKings, we're going to check odds on favor as we speak to the NBA Sixth Man of the Year. And lo and behold, the man that everyone was dogging, everybody was dogging this man. But I came out and said, and people even gave me shit on my post, that I feel like if Russell Westbrook rides into that six-man role, he could be Sixth Man of the Year. Why not? And has anyone ever been an MVP and a six-man? We might have to stat boy that, but I don't think so. But let's get to it, man. DraftKings odds on favor. Russell Westbrook is a plus 150.
Come on, Russ.
Followed by Jordan Poole at a plus 280. In third place, we have Christian Wood out there in Dallas at a plus 700. Love Bobby Portis's resurgence at a plus 2,500. And then we have Colin Sexton, Ben Mathurin, Malcolm Brogdon, and Bones Highland to round out the field. So let's talk about Russ right now. Obviously, Lakers struggling as a team, but he's bought into his role and has been very effective at it. And we're seeing happy Russell Westbrook. Thoughts on Russell Westbrook?
I'm with it. I'm team Russ Westbrook. I don't play that. I don't tolerate that Russ Westbrook hate shit. I'm a Bruin. Russell Westbrook has nothing been kind and nice to me when I spoke to him. He makes himself available to play basketball every game. He doesn't take.
I think that's one thing, Jelani. Not to cut you off, bro. That's so overlooked in a day and age where dudes will take time.
For a fingernail.
Russ is in 13th, 14th season, playing upwards of 75 games a season.
Come on, man.
If not more. I think that gets lost in translation.
Yeah, I think I'm big on Russell. I like the grace the city has shown him. He from here,
right?
To take a step back and come off the bench. You know what I mean? I'm glad Darvin put that, manifested that and put that alive, because that's something that can really make sure that Russ gets his flowers. And I see people auto-correcting now because players are pushing back on the Russ hate.
You got to, man. You got to. I'm a big fan of Russ over here too. Bruin family. Yep. Close with his little brother. I work out with his little brother every morning.
Come on now.
Again, I'm just happy to see him happy again.
Yeah.
because it was tough out here. And like you said, being from here, that's what made it even tougher, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Was people really on, Russ's head, but for him to be able to turn around and embrace this, I think it's been a beautiful thing. Obviously, there's still question marks around that team as a whole, but I think he's definitely embraced his role, and I would love to see, they said, James Harden had won a six-man and then an MVP, so you could tell on this come up, but I've never seen no one's ever won an MVP and then adjusted their mindset to win a six-man of the year. That's a hard thing to do. A lot of great players couldn't make that adjustment. And
this is going to be a dope
league.
six-man of the year race because nobody on here is really like on a killer team.
No.
So it's going to flip-flop. You guys are going to go on good runs, and I feel like this might be the most interesting on the radar we have this year. We're going to have to keep an eye on this because Malcolm Brogdon is going to be interesting. You know what I mean? Bones Highland can potentially be a real problem. Bobby Portis is always a great pick for six-man of the year, and now he's getting healthy and getting his minutes back. Of course, Jordan Poole. So I'm gonna keep an eye on this one. This is going to be interesting.
Next up, one of our favorite segments we haven't had in a while, but fan questions. Real Trotter 12. What's the biggest heat check you've seen as an opponent or have against you? A heat check.
I've seen some pretty gnarly Kobe heat checks against Dallas when he had that 40-something points or 30 in a quarter. Like I seen him feel like literally pass Kobe, and he literally dribbled in front of the field and shot one of them Steph Curry logo 3-pointers.
Yeah.
And he did that the next couple times down the court. So I'm gonna probably go with Bean.
Yeah, no, it's well documented that Phil was holding Kobe back on a couple of historical pace scoring nights.
Yep.
Then you look over at Steve Kerr with Clay, with some of Clay's 60 through three quarters and all this kind of crazy numbers. So I haven't necessarily seen on the court with players. I think it's more coaches trying to heat checking the players.
Messing up the heat.
Right.
Awesome_AIB or awesome_A. Does it make sense to trade AD? Mr. Barnes.
It's a tough question.
Yes, it is.
3 years ago we were talking about, him being one of the best players in the world. Obviously, injuries have, kept him from, reaching that potential. But then you see the other night where, he'll throw out a 37 and 18 on a Tuesday.
Moving like an old man too.
But that's the thing. You see him go up and reach for rebounds and his back issues. So I don't know. Obviously, in that bubble run, he was incredible. This is the AD everyone thought he would be, but injuries has kept him from being that consistently. You know what I mean? I think a lack of kind of want on his side. You know what I mean? Because you see sometimes him mad that he's not you're Anthony Davis, one of the best power forwards, and you have to get the ball. And everyone's been saying and this is my thing because we're not there. They've been saying they're ready to hand the keys to AD, but are they really? You know what I mean?
That's what offense run through.
That's
him
what everyone, they're
thing.
saying that's what it is, but we've been on teams where you hear some and that's not how it is over here. It's still so-and-so's team. So it'll be just interesting to see how this works. Again, Russ is bought into a six-man role. He's excelling in that. Bron is year 20. Right now he's hampered by a groin injury. Hopefully he gets better. He's not out too much time. And then AD is just... He's the one player I feel because I'm such a huge fan of, but every time he hits the ground, I kind of hold my breath oh shit, is he going to be okay? You know what I mean? So that's just not a good way to live. So I hope that he can pull it together and they can pull it together. I would hate to see this Laker team kind of go down how Kobe's run ended.
Oh, yeah.
Where Kobe was, so proud and, rode the ship till it sunk.
Yep.
I would hate to see that for LeBron because, like I said, we already saw one great do it.
The Lakers shouldn't be the place where legends come to die.
No,
that's not that's not the brand.
That brand don't work. Yeah, the brand don't work like that.
Yeah,
so
and
to answer your question, should they trade him? No.
Yeah.
I just think they got to just figure out what this is. I mean, the roster is pretty poorly constructed, but you got to make do with what you got. So it'll be interesting to see if they trade those 2 draft picks to try to get something now. Like I said, you can't. Look, this is year 20. You can't bank on next year being the year.
No.
So.
Or a guy making a big jump from second to third year to first or first to second year. Not the way that roster is constructed, like you said. And AD, I mean, maybe Yo, LA is intoxicating, bro. You know, riding around in Bugatti and Rolls Royces and shit with, you know, six Cuban links on, you know what I mean, ain't for everybody at the end of the day. You know what I mean? You can easily put up a quick title up in LA and put your feet up. Because at the end of the day, you know, he kind of did what he came for kind of early, both him and LeBron. And it's real easy to be put on that purple and gold, and, you know, with all the off-court opportunities. You know, you got the spread out in Brentwood and some of these places. You know, that's why one thing I respect is about them Miami Goons. It says they live well out there, but they still, you know, Barral still put them through some shit at the end of the day when they get back in the gym. So I know how hard that is to stay focused. Immensely talented player. I hate the fact that I wish he would just ignore the shit. Sometimes when he falls and shit hurts, he always grabs at something or grabs a back.
The world holds their breath every
or
time he
you know
falls.
what I mean? I wish like somebody would talk to him and like tell him like ignore the shit. We watched Bean walked off the Lakers court with a Achilles blown out.
Gone.
Not even crying or doing nothing, you know what I mean? Going down and knocking 2 free throws. I think part of his thing is mental. He got to start ignoring this shit. But hell no, he shouldn't trade AD. It's too late. If we was going to do that, we should have did it a long time ago. Ain't no way in hell we trading him and getting some. I don't see nobody out there that's going to fix this team. So let's get him right and finish this year out.
Superior _ Sayi 73. Opponent you hated going against the most.
Ugh. Fucking Ticket. Ticket used to get on my nerves. He's talking shit. He getting the ball every time and shit. They running that 452 twist shit, and he getting all them screens and shit. And then at the side of that, when he catch it, he turned up. He in a full lather with his eyes bugging.
lather.
You know what I mean? And you know, I've had opportunities to start against him. Then I have the opportunities to come off the bench when this motherfucker's already going.
Cooking.
And that's you know how that is. When you come in off the bench and you like, this motherfucker's in a full lather and already cooking.
What you want me to do with this?
He done already ran off 8 on him. You know what I mean? Now he gonna run by proxy, because you're gonna come in, you're gonna try to get a little bit more physical. You're gonna foul him. He gonna go to the line. You know how that shit is. But ultimate competitor, I would say between him and Antonio McDyess. McDyess was annoying.
Nice.
He's just annoying. He's just 6'10", 40-inch run. He got a wetter over the right shoulder, and you in Denver with the altitude, and your lips is turning white by the minute, catching up with the dudes. So between those two dudes, from my position, I would say like I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it because I love competition,
Right.
but it was like the shit was gonna be annoying.
Yeah.
at the end of the day.
Yeah, I that was my thing. I mean, every single night, that was my job, was to guard the best player. So I definitely didn't hate it. I ran to it. But obviously there was motherfuckers out there. You know what I mean? There's Kobe, there's T-Mac, there's Paul, there's Tracy McGrady, there's LeBron, there's Kevin Durant, there's D Wade, there's Ginobili.
Come on, man.
You know what I mean? I'm sure
You having to play 1 through 3 too.
There's Ray Allen. There's just guys that's what it was. So I mean, to me, I wouldn't say hate it. I would say love it. I mean, that's why I played. I embraced that. But every night it was
So many different styles too. Going to doing the same thing. Like a 30, you can have 2 30-point scorers.
way different games.
Way different game. One dude
Mellow.
slow.
I didn't even forgot to say mellow. I mean, it's just everyone had their own. Like, it wasn't. Not that this is a copycat league by any means, but like I said, all different styles. Everyone got their buckets different ways. So
The league is a shit. Don't get it twisted. Even that 16th dude on the bench is called Hasim Burhanu.
there you go.
That wasn't bad, man. That sounded good. Hasim, I got you, dog. Hasim Burhanu. Why isn't anyone mentioning De'Aaron Fox killer start to the year?
You know, you see me all over ESPN. I've been promoting the shit out the Kings. The Kings actually been getting love on ESPN. De'Aaron Fox came on NBA Today. We talked about them yesterday on the segment. So he's taking a big leap, and I'm happy for him. You know, this kid came in the game a 20-point-a-game scorer, quickly established that. But to me, I was looking for that. What's that next step in this game? And I think he's starting to take that this year from a leadership role. A defensive role for sure. I think he could be an all-NBA defender. His ability to get guys the ball where they need it, well, especially with the roster they have. They have such a good shooting team now that will only open up the court for him. So, man, shout out De'Aaron Fox and the Kings. Mike Brown, these guys have bought in. This team is definitely heading in the right direction, man. So really happy for him. I think he could be a first-time All-Star if his team can keep pace somewhat. So really happy for him.
Beam the light. What's that shit they're doing inside?
It's the purple beam. It's
the
purple
ultra-light
beam.
beam. The purple beam got him cracking.
They say you can see that from outer space.
You dig. And he playing out of his mind in the Astro Belt.
Kings got a big game tonight versus KD in the Nets. So we shall see. It's on TNT too. I can tell you that like
big
the
time.
last
The
TNT game was probably the
Kings?
Webb era.
Yeah.
They ain't had a TNT game since Gino had hair. So it's been a
Hey,
minute.
we back Sacktown on
It's been a minute. It's
TNT,
been
but
a
Gino
minute.
Hair ain't coming back, man.
No, it's gone for life. Well, that's a wrap, man. What's burning again? Sending love to our brother Steven Jackson. We love
Man,
you.
we
We
miss
miss
you.
you. Condolences to the family. We will be seeing you soon, but you can catch this on Showtime Basketball YouTube.
And on Twitter, Instagram, at TikTok, at Show Basketball.
We'll see y'all next week.
What happens when you see it?
It's smiling at me, but not a friendly smile. The worst smile I've ever seen. It wears people's faces like masks.
Why is it that everybody else who's seen it is dead and you're alive?
You have it?
I am not going to keep running. I have to face it.
Smile. Rated R. Now streaming on Paramount Plus.